They tried to silence me, but how did that work out for everyone, including myself? Hello, today is November 8th, 2021, and the time is 9:28 a.m. I've talked about the Provincial Health Services, province of Alberta, quite a bit over the years and even recently. And just to do a real quick recap, in 2012, soon after I moved across country to this province, I learned of the sexual abuse of vulnerable women, or sex trafficking of vulnerable women, in a so-called nonprofit organization dealing with the mental health industry, and it's an industry. And a few weeks after that, was interviewed by the Provincial Healthcare, and they were just asking some general but peculiar questions, so I told them what I knew. And then somewhere along the way, it appears that somehow what I had shared with them leaked to certain individuals in the organization. I've shared affidavits of what I know in other videos. And fast forwarding with my dealings with this provincial health care, after the May 4th, 2013 event, the two former officers and whoever else within the Calgary police had put me on some sort of watch list with regards to the female that was involved in all this. And from that, my experiences when I would go to the hospital for follow-ups and so forth regarding injuries and everything else were extremely bad, to say the least. And in fact, I had one doctor refuse to treat me, and I convinced him to put it in writing. And I shared a photo of that little letter, which totally goes against the whole idea of everyone having access to healthcare in Canada. And I'm sure the same applies with other countries like Australia and the USA and United Kingdom. Anyway, I digress. The information that was stated to me or about me on this database, the family doctor that I was using for many years, as he was following up with my injuries and treatments or whatever, he said that he couldn't change any of that information, and how wrong it was that this was put on my permanent record in this province. And I have many bad experiences. I've shared some stories and other videos about all that over the years, to the point where I finally, how should I say, I rescinded my provincial health card in 2016. And what really triggered this whole thing at that time was I ended up in a hospital. Apparently I had some sort of microstroke, and that was when I learned that I'm supposed to be on an oxygen tank and blah, blah, blah. And when I was in the hospital, that one of the nurses kept sedating me every 15 minutes. She lied to me, said there was something for the pain, but kept sedating me. And then she didn't come back in time, because I was coming to pretty quick, whatever they were giving me. And I said, no, I don't want any more. And she just got irate with me, and I came to, and I just walked out. And then I'm going to fast forward now to, so yeah, I had no health insurance for several years. In the fall of 2020, I had a new medical condition, and I remember that evening, I was literally had staying at a friend's place for just a short little while, and I had the severe pains in my abdominal region, like my torso, really, really bad that it knocked me on the floor for a few hours. I was in so much pain, and I never experienced pain like that in my life. I finally was able to get myself up and made it to my phone and called for an ambulance. And then I was really reluctant to do that. I was even trying to contemplate if I could drive myself. That's how bad it was. Anyway, the ambulance shows up, and I had stepped out front, and they were, asking, where are the pains and everything else. Anyway, they wanted me to cover my face, and I said, no, I'm not covering my face. And this banter went back and forth. So I finally said, listen, I'm not going with you, basically get lost type of thing. And I will remember I was literally on one knee, falling over onto the lawn. And the pain was so intense that I couldn't even, think clear. And basically they said, well, listen, if you're going to escalate this if I don't go with them. So I didn't even want to go with them in the first place. And then the female paramedic, some millennial, whatever, she just rants on and on that she didn't want to get ill and all this other nonsense. And if I wasn't in so much pain and I was thinking more clearly, I would have told her to stay home. But she just wouldn't let it go, just wouldn't let it go. And they wanted to give me an injection of something. And based on my experiences with the provincial health care in this province, I said, no, you're not injecting me with anything. You want to give me something for pain, give it to me orally. And they said they couldn't, so I had to endure the whole trip to the hospital. And anyway, as I was laying to, I guess, get checked in or whatever, processed, this female attendee who was very much for covering the face and everything else was just sitting there, just giving me evil eyes. And I don't know if she was taking my video or my pictures or whatever and texting, but she was just irate. She didn't say a word to me. And so that kind of set me off. I didn't even want to go with them because of all that, but whatever. And then by the next day, there was a doctor. So this was around midnight. And by the next morning, he wanted to do emergency surgery, which I declined. I'll get into that in a moment, part of the reason why. So the doctor that was looking after me throughout the night had come in, and she just wanted to touch base, with she likes to touch base with her patients before she leaves her shift. The place was empty, and I remember she was saying to me that current worldwide events, there's nothing to it. She was saying it was fake. So don't worry about it, because of the condition that I was in and what the surgery was for and everything else was, according to the surgeons, life-threatening, and still is, because I hadn't gotten the surgery, whatever. I digress. And I didn't say anything to the doctor before my position on all this, knowing what I know, and didn't say anything after. I just kind of listened. So then I ended up applying for the provincial health care again, and I wrote on the form. I took a picture of it, so I have a copy of it. Basically my distrust, and I just want them to pay for that time at the hospital, and I don't want them to do any medical assistance on me ever in the future, period. So, and apparently they're trying to say that I owe money, or the ambulance people say that I owe money. I didn't even want to go with the ambulance people. And as I said in previous videos, even if I had the money, I wouldn't pay a cent based on my dealings with the provincial health care in this province. So one of the main reasons of my not taking that operation is, simply put, I don't trust the provincial health care in this province. And the way the world's going, I don't think I would trust any health care in any province. So, and it's not something made up in my head. I mean, I've shared a lot of documentation and a lot of evidence of the different things that I've endured with them, as well as what I know about them. And the fact that they were funding this so-called nonprofit organization 60% and did nothing. I'm just lost for words with that. This is the world that we live in, but really it's trust. And I wouldn't want, and I don't want, any medical treatment by any hospitals, especially in this province. Quite frankly, I just don't trust them based on my experience, as well as what's going on in the world. So take what you will from this video. I decided I'd share trust. And trust is a big thing, not only when you're dealing with so-called professionals or real professionals, but even with people in your own life. Trust, especially in today's world, is a very difficult thing to define. And I look back throughout my life, and probably even to now, how naive I am. As much street smarts as I may have, I'm still naive. I haven't been completely jaded, but even in your own personal life, trust is an issue, and I think everyone could agree with that. And if somebody breaches that trust, it's very hard to get back. So I just thought I'd recap my experiences with the provincial health care. I recommend watching the other videos that I've done about this and what I know firsthand that they know, and the evidence that I've shared supporting at least some of my terrible dealings with them. So that's all I really want to say. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.